Yep.
Hi, everybody. Bill Russell. I'm the Associate Dean for International in the School of Business here at the University of Dundee. Today, we are going to interview the April Student of the Month. We have a Student of the Month each month, surprisingly. And while the April Student of the Month is running a little late because we're in May, it doesn't, nonetheless, he's an excellent student. And this is Angus Scott. And I'd like to thank you very much for coming along and joining us today and talking about your experiences here at Dundee. So first things, where do you come from and how did you get to come to Dundee at the start?
So I'm originally from Edinburgh, and when I left school, I left at the end of 5th year and I had no plans of university at all. I was in the mindset that I wanted to get a little bit of money, get some experience. So I went initially to the financial sector in Edinburgh, working in RBS, then Lloyd's, and then back to RBS doing an apprenticeship. And within this apprenticeship, I remember the level of work, it was good, but it wasn't what I wanted it. It wasn't the level that I wanted to be working at. And I remember one day, this was kind of the turning point that made me want to go to uni. The graduate in the team, she came and she was doing a rotational shift. So she came to our team and the level of work that she was completing was just levels above anything I was doing. And it really kind of almost inspired me to, go back to college, then go to uni and go through these steps. And I sort of did the standard, looked at all the different options of courses, and the business management at Dundee really did stand out. I had a few friends that had gone the year before and had kind of mentioned how good Dundee was, the appeal of like being a very centralized campus. Like everything was like a 5-10 minute walk max. Yes. So yeah, I mean, it was kind of by chance that I decided to come to university, but it's probably been the best decision I've made in the kind of my young adult life that I've come.
Okay. So that's excellent. So I like your part of your story there, which is that you saw a graduate in your team, and that meant you got to see what a graduate could do compared to somebody who hadn't been to university. So that's a real plus. I love that. That's a good part of the story. So you came and did business management, and you're now in year 3.
Year 3, yep, just about to go to year 4.
Just about to end and about to start to do year 4. And when you first arrived, the campus, you've already said, is small and compact. It's actually a nice looking campus looking over the Tay. What about your first impressions? How did the original arrival and getting onto the business management program work? Did you meet an advisor? How did that all work?
So luckily for me, I'd been to college for a short period of time beforehand, and the curriculum in college was quite similar to first year. So it incorporated, economics, accounting, international business, management, and it was like quite a wide spectrum. So luckily for me, it wasn't a whole new process. It was quite good to fit into, maybe certain theories or certain practices I, learned at college and then apply them to what I was learning anew at university. In terms of like actually arriving in first year, for me, I found it quite difficult. I didn't think I would, but the actual initial leaving home, starting anew, I was quite pumped up and I was quite ready to go. And then I think after the initial arrival and, the freshers week kind of died down, you were kind of like, right, this is me. This is like my life now. So it was, I mean, now I see, my mum doesn't like when I say this, but I see Dundee as home. When I say to my mum, I'm going back up home. Yeah, and she's not chuffed about me saying that. But
listen, next time I meet your mother, I won't tell her that, okay?
Yeah, I won't show her this then.
Okay, so that's very good. Now listen, the reason why we award the Student of the Month, it's not academic performance alone or even focused on that. What it focuses on is students who make the absolute most of their time at Dundee. And you're somebody who fits into that. Now, listen, there's 3 things that you've done which stand out, which are outstanding. The first one is you've organised an internship with American Express, which will be run this summer. Tell us how you organised that. How did you find it? What was the process associated with finding that?
So initially I looked online, that's where I started, and it was a kind of wide scope search I did just of, business management related internships. So I think I only applied for 3. It was Lloyd's, American Express and JP Morgan.
And when you said search, how did you search? Was it through the careers office, or was it on Google, or how did you do that?
Yeah, it was just Google. It was off my own back.
Okay.
Just kind of, I think I'd kind of realised the time frames, and it was about maybe October, coming to the end of September, October time, and I kind of realised the importance of, like, you know, your penultimate year, you know, getting that kind of real life experience over summer, you know, before you leave, like kind of seeing exactly what you could do. So yeah, and about October I kickstarted the search, and the applications for JP Morgan and American Express both progressed, and it went from the kind of written application to a video type interview, which was slightly unsettling, because it wasn't like as we are now face to face. It was a program where a question would come up. You'd have 30 seconds to think of an answer, and then you'd have 5 minutes to answer the question. And I think for American Express it was 5 of those you had to do. And I came off of it, I think it was because I was a little bit unsettled, I came off of it like, oh, I've not done too well. But I think I should have had more hope, because then I got contacted to go down to Brighton, where the base of the type of internship I applied for is, to the assessment centre, which, I mean, even if I hadn't got the internship, the assessment centre was a great experience in itself. Just kind of seeing the ins and outs. The process down there was, we had to do 2 interviews, one kind of situational judgmental based and another more personality based. The third task was, we were in a group and we had to look at I think maybe 5 or 6 documents, and then discuss the documents within the group, and kind of be, you know, analytical about our discussion, probing, you know, questioning people's motives rather than just agreeing. It had to be kind of showing that you can, like, discuss in a business context, which was, you know, quite good. And then finally it was we had an hour to prepare a case study, and then a solo presentation. So it was quite a busy day that we went down, and I remember coming away thinking, like, my brain needs a break, like it really does just need to chill. And then the next day they were like, okay, we'll contact you quite early on, because it was like, you know, very small margins of when they let you know. I remember being back up on the train, and it went 10, 11, 12, 1, and I hadn't got called, and I was like, right, I'm just going to go to sleep, because if the longer I'm thinking about this, the more it'll annoy me. And I remember getting, I think it was maybe to Darlington, coming back up from Brighton to Edinburgh, and I woke up and there was a missed phone call, so I went and phoned them back straight away, and I'd got the job. So it was, really, really
that
good.
Sounds like a lot of fun. But also, there's something very nice about the intensity of it all. It's like giving a presentation. You're totally on the edge. You've got all your
100%.
Your brain clicked in. You're focused.
Definitely.
What's going to happen? What's going to happen?
Yeah,
so it's a lovely feeling.
Surprising. Yeah, it's surprising how, you know, like, there's a switch, like you said, and like you can just, like, as soon as the clock went, you've got an hour. I was just down on the paper, reading, scanning, seeing what I could do, how I could present.
There could be a small earthquake going on out there, and you wouldn't notice it.
Yeah,
you're just focusing on what you have to do.
No, that's it.
Okay, definitely. So how long is the internship, and are they going to pay you, or is this voluntary?
So the internship was originally meant to run for 10 weeks, but this has been shortened to 6 weeks because it's now fully online.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I'm really grateful that that's happened, because there's quite a lot of my friends who have either had theirs deferred or cancelled. So the you know, the ability for American Express to transition this, you know, in a short period of time from, you know, 10 weeks down in Brighton to 6 weeks online, like, it's, you know, pretty impressive, pretty good. But yeah, getting paid as well, which is really good.
Really nice.
They've actually, because I think they feel quite sorry that it's not going ahead. They're being very considerate with the pay, we'll say, over the 6 weeks, almost kind of as a slow you down, but here's kind of a little present. So yeah, you know, all looking good.
So that's very good. So that's congratulations on that. Now the second thing is that the School of Business organised an economics conference, really in response to the crisis in economics which followed the last recession, and you were involved in that. Can you tell us how that happened and how you got involved?
Yeah, so it was actually kind of by chance. Dundee was actually hosting the economics conference in third year, so the committee that was needed was a little bit larger than the year before. So I'd had friends that were involved in the year before, and it was just by chance, and one of my friends asked, and the position that was available there was quite a few, but the one that stuck out to me was head of sales. I hadn't really had much experience in kind of working with sales and the process behind that. And I'd also recently just took up a student ambassador role with Fixer, which is a ticketing company that kind of targets students and student events and sports teams. So I thought it would be quite good to merge the two and kind of like use the experience from each and combine it into both, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
And kind of just build that kind of skill set with head of sales. But it was good. So the kind of role I did was like facilitating the ticket sales with potential customers, new customers, thinking of ways to drop sales, kind of just generally helping the president, the vice president with any kind of tasks that were needed. Worked really closely with the university, which was quite a nice insight. Worked with Hugh Gunn. He was really, really good. Yeah, he helped us with the systems and setting stuff up because we decided to do it all through the university. So it was a really positive experience. And the actual caliber of the people that came to Dundee, the speakers, the workshops were great also. It was a really, really good day for everyone that went. And I think it was great for Dundee because, you know, it was on campus, it was in Dalhousie, so it was a good buzz, throughout the day.
So that sounds really fabulous.
I was so happy to do it.
And then the third thing that you've been involved with is that students, undergraduate students and master's students, but undergraduate students go off to a summer school. Last summer you went to a summer school. So tell us about that. How did you get to know about it? How did you organise that as well?
Yeah, so the business school had actually sent the email out. It had been forwarded to them and then forwarded to all students, which I think, you know, the business school are really good at. Like, I think quite a lot of opportunities that I've applied for have been through that method. So, you know, it's pretty positive on that sense. So what I did was I saw it, and it was a 8-week placement at a summer school based in Beijing and Shanghai in China.
Okay, I know the one. I know the summer school. Yeah, go on.
And so it was more engineering and science based, but I think for me that kind of excited me a little bit more because it was a field I'd really never, I mean, I'd done engineering at school, but other than that I'd never really you know, delved into it too much. So it was kind of an opportunity, one, to go to this which I'll say, you know, from my perspective was an amazing country, you know, the culture, the experiences, people, like it was brilliant. And then also learn, you know, kind of build knowledge, build skill sets. So the kind of summer school itself was, so we were based on a campus in Shanghai, and we went out to different trips. Like, it was a really, really practical experience. So we'd go, I think it was maybe like 4 trips a week. We'd go visit, you know, like engineering feats or factories. I think there was one time we went to the Singtao factory, which was great because at the end it was a free taster session, unlimited beer. So I think that was a day we all enjoyed. But yeah, just even the kind of experience of the living somewhere for, like, even though it was 8 weeks, just completely different, outside the comfort zone. I feel, you know, if I could recommend anybody to, you know, do a semester abroad or a summer placement abroad, you know, if it's within their means, definitely do it because it's an experience I'll never forget. But yeah, it was great, so good. And
did the university subsidise your the trip to Shanghai? What was the involvement of the university?
Yeah, so it was really, really good actually. We paid for flights and visa, and everything else was covered. So so food was covered. We got given a campus card. I think we got 1,000 yuan every 4 weeks. So that was all good for food. There was food on campus, accommodation paid for, internal travel paid for. You know, we had kind of ambassadors from that university on hand to help us at any time. So like, it was really well planned, really well thought of. And yeah, so it was just kind of the initial getting there and getting the visa costs we had to pay. And then if we wanted to do any kind of extra stuff when we were there, it was on us. But yeah, no, it was.
I think that's exactly right. Good. I love the whole concept of going to China is fabulous, just to watch what's going on. They're incredibly friendly and sort of focused on what's going on. So that's one thing. I'm Australian, you probably guessed that. And I think leaving Australia to come to the United Kingdom, you get to see a little bit of a slightly different culture. And you get those benefits, but you also get the benefit of looking at your home country through the eyes of where you are. So I get to look at Australia through the eyes of what British people might think of it. And I think the same thing when I go to China, I feel as though I'm looking at the United Kingdom and Australia through the eyes of what the Chinese might think. And that's a huge, huge gain to us as we go forward.
Yeah, it allows a little bit of critical thinking towards maybe situations or environments you wouldn't normally question. You know what I mean?
Yes,
So yeah,
exactly.
it's really good.
I know.
Really good.
And all of that diversity. The other thing about what you said was that you were very happy that it was in science and engineering. The modern world, the overlap between disciplines is so important, and we keep talking
Agreed.
about multidisciplinary learning and being able to work closely with people from another discipline is quite an eye-opener. It's a real benefit to yourself. And
Definitely.
listen, last thing I guess is you're going to go off to the internship. You've got fourth year. Have you started to think of what you'll do when you graduate at the end of fourth year?
I'm kind of in two minds, to be honest. I'm pretty keen to, get out and start working and put the kind of knowledge I've learned and skills I've learned to like a practical sense. If, for example, if American Express offered me the graduate position, I would most definitely take it. It would be a great experience.
Yes.
The kind of the channel that the internship focuses on is customer service and business strategy, which is something that I'm quite passionate about. I feel like I know a lot about customer service from working, multiple roles in the sector. I feel like the business strategy that is kind of interesting because every day is different. You could be dealing with, infrastructure changes or supply chain management or customer facing products and services. So I think that kind of aspect, I would go for something in that kind of field. And then there's another side of me, like I'd love to go to potentially like a European city and try do a master's. I've looked into it slightly. There was a innovation of management master's in Rotterdam University, and it was kind of just looking at cutting edge, forward thinking management styles and practices, and people management and leadership. And I think like throughout my whole time at university, while doing the course, everything that's been to do with like the management aspect and the people aspect and leadership have really resonated with, maybe slightly more than like the financial or economic side. So I think it would be kind of that I would potentially want to focus on, or I would want to delve into more and kind of like untap a bit more knowledge. But yeah, it's kind of open at the moment. We will see. Could still be.
Keep options open. There is a value to having options open. If you close them down, you lose value. But both of those things are not inconsistent with each other as well. If you get an opportunity to go on a training course on one of these really large firms, which spend a lot of resources and effort in your training over the first 2-3 years or 2 years, there's nothing to stop you from doing that. And then if you want to go on and do a master's, either an MBA, an executive MBA, or more technical focused master's, then that's possible. And maybe the institution would also send you off. So I'm glad that you're thinking in both spaces, work and in study, and you've just got to get them to meld in. But education is lifelong. It's, in the old days, 100%. People passed their first degree and that's what they were for the rest of their life. It's not the case. There's masters, there's PhDs, there's professional qualifications, so many. Listen, Angus, thank you very much for coming along. You are incredibly articulate and engaged. You're a perfect example of a student of the month, somebody who has just grabbed everything that's available to them and made the absolute most of it. So you're a good man. I think that is the way to describe you.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
That's all right. Listen, I'm going to turn off the recording and we could talk a little bit afterwards. Thank you, everybody, for listening. You'll agree with me that Angus is very special. Right. Look after yourself. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.